What's going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Hope everybody is having a great day. I know I am. We got Connie Stewart in here. Connie, definitely appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Mr. Alex Yeet. We got GeoXRP, Digital Asset Conductor. We got all kinds of people coming here to hang out with us. Guys, I got to be real with you. I went down a rabbit hole today, and I am not sure that I'm ever going to be able to come back out of this thing. We got Ali G, Malpass. Do you want some Vegemite? No, I don't even know what Vegemite is, but it sounds like I don't want any of it. You know, I'm a meatitarian. I'm nowhere near a vegetarian. But I Am Legend. I Am Legend put a tweet out. I suspect the bank consortium Fnality can't create CBDCs without BIS blessing. So I want to dig into this a little bit, but before I dig into it, I want you to understand why I'm digging into this, and I got a firm belief that this all ties right back to Ripple when you start looking at some of these things that are going on. Got a couple of good things. Some of it's going to be kind of long-winded, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of it is some really long articles, especially once we start getting into the BIS website and actually start looking into some of that. And it's going to be probably a long show. There's going to be some speculation going on inside of this show today, but I got a feeling it's going to be a good show. So sit back, relax, and let's see how we can get it going. He said Digital Asset Conductor said James is down the rabbit hole again. Hey, but before we get going, hey, Roses to the Moon and Hodl Style. They ended up hooking me up with some shirt. Don't know if y'all can see that or not. But give Hodl Style a follow. He's got some nice shirts. He's got some nice pullovers. They're doing some good things over there. They give you some discounts and everything else. But definitely appreciate everybody coming in. But before we get going on the into this, all of these rabbit holes, I want you to revisit this video that I put out. That this is the Bank of Santander, and they're talking about CBDCs, and we're gonna go deep into the CBDC rabbit hole today. But let's let this right here refresh your memory before we get into it.
Are individuals or to institutions digital versions of central bank money. So we at Banco Santander and 15 other financial institutions, Credit Suisse, UBS in Switzerland, KBC, ING, Commerzbank, Santander, Eurozone, Barclays, Lloyds, Pounds, Bank of New York, Mellon, State Street, NASDAQ, Dollars, CIBC, Canadian Dollars, MUFG, Mizuho, SMBC, Japanese Yen. 15 banks have been working on creating central bank digital currency as a consortium for the last 3.5 years. I've been working on this for 3.5 years. Quietly, the central banks had said to us, shh, say nothing. And then our friends at Facebook announced Libra, and all of a sudden, thank you, by the way, for because we were allowed to talk about what we've been doing, or individuals or to institutions.
All right, so he listed off a bunch of names here, and as I started looking into what I Am Legend was talking about, this Fnality, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what in the world is Fnality? So I get to digging into it, looking to see what Fnality is, and I was kind of shocked when I actually found it. Before I get into it, Taylor Eckert, appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us. XRP runs, speculation and hype is what we're here for. Yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. Palmer already with the 2 XRP. Donation, man. I appreciate that, Palmer. You're awesome. But Fnality, what is Fnality? So let's get into Fnality. Fnality here is something that I've never even heard of until today. Fnality International has been founded to create a network of decentralized financial market infrastructures, better known as DFMIs, to deliver the means of payment on the chain for tomorrow's wholesale banking markets. So when you start looking at some of these stakeholders that are in here, Bank of Santander, Bank of New York Mellon, Barclays, CIBC, Commerzbank, Credit Suisse, KBC, Lloyds Banking Group, MUFG Group, NASDAQ. You start looking at all these names and you really start seeing Ripple Partners. Not every single one of these are Ripple partner, but you have a bunch of Ripple partners inside of this thing as they're working together. And I'm not going to say that they're not Ripple partners. Maybe it's a fact that we just have not heard that they are Ripple partners yet. Maybe this is where some of the NDAs come into place, and this is some of the speculation in which I was speaking about. So I started looking into them a little bit more. Fnality, what do we do? And they got a nice little video here. A nice little video that explains exactly what's going on. And I think you're going to enjoy this video. It's about 7 minutes long. It won't take too much of your time. Let's watch this.
The world of financial markets has to change. With all that has happened since Lehman and the great financial crisis, banks are struggling with profitability. The business model is broken. The next evolution in technology holds much promise, which we need to unlock. Financial services, at its core, has the role of efficiently moving, allocating, and pricing money and risk in an economy. But the industry has become very complicated. Myriad varieties of post-trade processes, many intermediaries and middlemen, as well as a lot of regulation. The industry is highly concentrated with just a small number of very big, centralized financial market infrastructures. A recent US study suggested that this sector accounts for 7.5% of GDP. How efficient that sector is really matters. That is a big challenge. We have exploited computer power to become as efficient as possible. That evolution has made it necessary to have quite a hierarchy with multiple intermediaries and middlemen. The drive for best practices, together with the impact of regulation, have resulted in a lot of dead money. Dead because we have collateral, cash, and securities in many places. The balance sheet is highly constrained. We can only reduce settlement risk by increasing credit risk. As an industry, we need to find a much better solution for the future. We haven't always had middlemen, and we haven't always had computers. In the early 17th century,
all right, so remember what they're fixing to say here about the early 1700s. We're definitely going to be talking about this in a little bit as we get into the BIS. There's so much of this stuff just plays right into each other to where you can really start to see what's unfolding right in front of our eyes as far as the CBDCs go and how Ripple is actually in the mix with not only the BIS, but how Ripple is in the mix with Christine Lagarde and the ECB, and you start looking into Santander. You start looking at how all this stuff unfolds. So remember what she's saying here about the 17th century.
Companies and investors had a very simple relationship. The investor exchanged cash for his shares, a bearer instrument, a piece of paper. But with all that paper, things were hard to manage unless the issuer and investor were in the same place. And some issuers were not so honest. Sometimes investments proved not to be worth the paper they were written on. In today's jargon, we could call this peer-to-peer market with peer-to-peer settlement. Blockchain, tokenization. Much talked about. What are really worth talking about are peer-to-peer markets with peer-to-peer settlement. The technology behind blockchain enables a digital asset to be definitively transferred between issuer and an investor. The technology turns the asset into bits and bytes, which is not new. What is different is the process of tokenization enables any buyer to be absolutely sure that the asset, the thing they have bought, is genuine and has been sold only once, and its exchange is final, eliminating the need for many layers of intermediaries and middlemen.
So what she's trying to explain right now is basically the double spending problem that we face in today's economy. Double spending is way out of control in today's economy, and that's the reason that we have such the debt in which we have, because none of it's real. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, they're just printing money and it don't mean anything anymore because we're just constantly double spending money. So making everything digital and putting stuff on the blockchain is going to eliminate that double spending problem. But like I say, I mean, we'll finish this video up and then I'm going to start linking everything together.
And with it, we have the efficiencies and resilience of today's centralized systems without the centralization. Investors will connect directly to issuers on-chain with today's technology, allowing us to overcome the trust problem. We are headed back to where we started, peer-to-peer marketplaces and settlement. Across financial services, as an industry, we are investing heavily in tokenization and in trading or price discovery venues. There are 3 key ingredients to tomorrow's markets. First, tokenization of assets. This is about new assets and existing ones. Second, we need exchanges and price discovery venues. The third ingredient, a means of payment on-chain, enables us to make effective use of the potential of blockchain and peer-to-peer markets. Putting these things together, we have the opportunity to lower costs, risks, and economic rents in the financial system. We need a means of payment that is on-chain. The team at Fnality has designed USC to fulfill that role. A central bank accepted means of payment that works across different platforms and in multiple currencies. As we design the payment solution for tomorrow's markets, we could do what we have always done. Have an account-based structure where there is an account in every system. This is not great. It slices up our liquidity and drives up cost.
So this is our basic that we have now. This is basically liquidity pools, basically Nostro Vostro accounts in which they're describing now. I want you to pay attention to this USC. They talk a lot about USC, and realistically, I'm looking at that as basically a name that they're putting in place as a stakeholder name. I don't think that they have really and truly come up with a USC, which is basically what I would think would be a US stablecoin. But there again, keep in mind that we're talking about Ripple partners here, and keep in mind on what you're about to see as we show the next level of what we're going to do with liquidity.
Or we could be smarter. We would need a whole lot less liquidity if we could point many business applications at the same pool of funds. We can be smarter because the technology that is available allows different chains to easily interact. This is called interoperability. All the time, the pool of liquidity stays the same. A single pool of funds serving any payment-related need. What you own on the chain is something we have called USC, a digital cash asset fully backed by collateral at each central bank. Fnality is building the foundations, a private chain in each currency. We then need to make the foundations usable. This means we have to coordinate and orchestrate with the platforms and business applications that want to use USC as a means of digital payment. Interoperability is the plumbing part, enabling those businesses and platforms to connect to USC for payment and final settlement. USC is about facilitating settlement in wholesale markets. It is not intended for retail. How much access there will be is something we will have to negotiate with each regulator. Although building proper foundations will take some time, Fnality is uniquely positioned with the USC offering to underpin the biggest change in banking in 50 years, a radical simplification. To make this happen, we have the support of the world's largest banks and financial institutions. For more...
All right, guys, look at the names that we have here. Mitsubishi UFJ, NASDAQ, CIBC, State Street, Banco Santander, Barclays, ING. Lloyd's Banking Group. I mean, guys, go look at the Ripple website and start looking up names of people that we have partnerships with, and tell me that this thing is not unfolding right
The
in front of
world's
our eyes.
largest banks and financial institutions. For more information about USC or Fnality, or to register with us, please visit our website.
All right, so I think that what we found here with Fnality is really and truly what we're going to be seeing later with digital assets, and I think that later is going to be sooner than later. What really got me starting to look into this stuff was another tweet that come out about, here we go. ECB could speed up plans for public digital currency if cash use drops. So they're basically saying what they have plans on doing, but we got to think about who the president of the ECB is, and we got to figure out what the ECB is. The ECB is actually 28 central banks of each EU member state that actually make up the ECB, and here we are. Madam Christine Lagarde is the president over all of that. We know what kind of relationship it looks like from the outside looking in with Christine Lagarde and Ripple. So we start looking into that situation. So as we come over here, digital asset conductor, I appreciate the 5XRP, man. That's awesome. I definitely appreciate it. A digital currency backed by the European Central Bank could be necessary if payments within Europe remain too expensive and confidential. ECB document said, adding that its possible adoption could be accelerated by signs of lower cash usage. All right, so when you think about them doing this, then we jump over here to this one, and we have the French Central Bank doing the same thing. But if you think back to what I Am Legend's tweet was saying was about the BIS. So what is the BIS? For those who don't know, it's the Bank of International Settlements. So as you come into the Bank of International Settlements and you start looking around at what they have going on, some of the first things in which you see inside of the Bank of International Settlements, risk and benefits of modern financial technologies, lessons learned from the 17th century stablecoin. I was not aware of this, but there again, I was not around back here anyway, that the first bank to actually use a stable coin type settlement system was actually the Bank of Amsterdam. So what the Bank of Amsterdam was doing was realistically trading out one certain object for assets. But we'll get into this. This is coming from the BIS, and this is what they're saying they're thinking of when they think about the stable coins coming into the picture, and what their take is of how it needs to improve upon what was in the 17th century. Whether you are here today as a chief risk officer, regulator, academic, or in my use case, central bank governor, we all seem to be facing the same challenges. How can we find the optimal balance between risk and benefit in an environment riddled with uncertainty? Today, I want to talk about the risk and benefits of a financial technology, or fintech, and what better place to do this than here in Amsterdam. Silicon Valley on the southern shore of San Francisco Bay, the city of Shenzhen in the Chinese Pearl River Delta. They are well-known breeding grounds for the technology of tomorrow, but innovation is common to all ages. And right here in the city of Amsterdam, at the heart of the river basin, important innovations occur as early as the 17th century. Monetary history is rife with examples of innovation that challenged the status quo. The Bank of Amsterdam did exactly that in the early 17th century. In fact, a forthcoming research paper by the Bank of International Settlements and the Netherlands Bank considers the Bank of Amsterdam as early instance of stablecoin provider and issuer of money backed by low risk asset. My apologies. So you get into the full PDF here, and you actually see what they were doing as we come down into this thing further. Let's get down to the end of it because I know you don't want to read all of this stuff. This is a lot of stuff that I've been reading in here today, and I tell you, it's been a long day of reading these things. Let's get down here to the conclusion. All right, despite their innovative character, fintech activities remain subject to traditional risk. Activities that resemble deposit taking remain subject to liquidity mismatches and the potential for runs. New financial assets can still be subject to speculative bubbles. Early crypto assets such as Bitcoin have exhibited extreme price volatility. For example, if specific firms achieve a large enough scale, there is still potential for them to become systematically important. The data-driven business models of some of the large technology firms are particular, can generate strong and self-reinforcing network effects. News forms of could be transmitted, shocks across the institutions and markets, outsourcing, for example, increasing the complexity of value and chains. It could give rise to new forms of concentration risk as third parties take the roles and may be systematic importance and advanced. All of this stuff that they're talking about is trying to take the risk out of you and I not being able to really and truly enjoy our money not being worth anything. Today's money is not worth anything at all. Where's the conclusion at? Let's get to the conclusion. The conclusion was pretty good. Here we go. So let me conclude. Whether we are dealing with deposits of bullion, because that's what they were doing in the 17th century, or the rise of stablecoins in the 21st century, all forms of financial innovation pose risk and benefits. And while we can learn valuable lessons from history about where financial innovation went wrong, there is no guarantee that the approaches and mechanisms we put in place in the past can adequately address all circumventing risk of the future. So in a rapidly shifting landscape of risk and benefits, we need to refocus on where the risk lie while not losing sight of the risk, while always faced expanding and strengthening cooperations is needed so we are not blindsided by these risks and miss out on the benefits. So basically what is going on in the 1700s, it did not work. They've already tried this system, but what they had going on was you had to have two people together for the peer-to-peer. What we have now with the blockchain and distributed ledger technology, we do not have to have face-to-face contact with the people that we're actually transacting with, and we have a trust system, a trustless system, where we don't have to put all of our trust in that banker that's sitting across the street from us. And it's a good thing that we don't have to deal with all of them, because the impacts of that really and truly is you and I losing out on the benefits of what we have. Let's see who we got going in here. Jonathan Del Rio, we appreciate you coming in. Taylor Eckert's still in here. Dollar has lost 97% of its value since it was created. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just a matter of time. Hodl. It's almost time for XRP to boom. This is good news. Guys, I promise you, by looking at charts, I really and truly, I think that is a very correct statement, that I think that we're getting closer and closer every day. I'm not saying that it's going to be like in the beginning of 2020, but as you start looking at the charts, the potential for it to be sometime in 2020 is looking very good. But there again, we don't know what that's going to look like when we actually start moving, what it's going to move to, how it's going to move. But it's going to be exciting to see. So also here on the BIS website, we have hearing from the Committee of Economic and Monetary Affairs of the European Parliament. This is Miss Christine Lagarde that was actually putting this out. And guys, I'm gonna link this in the description of the video, because like I say, this is a very long article here on her as well. We'll get back to the shorter articles so that we're not having to sit here and just listen to me go on about these things all day, because I mean, literally, we'll sit here all day just trying to read these articles out to you. So Christine Lagarde, I'll read a little bit of this and then we'll get back into somewhere else. I am very happy to be back before the committee for my first regular hearing as ECB president. I want to express my personal and sincere gratitude to the House for the support I've received during the appointment process, and I look forward to constructive and positive relationship between our two institutions going forward. This is her speaking with the BIS on behalf of the ECB. The connections between the ECB and the European Parliament is especially valuable today as it means and reinforce trust in European institutions. In the Euro era, support for a single currency has grown steadily in recent years, rising from a low of 62% in 2013 during a crisis, an all-time high of 76% today. Trust in the ECB has grown in the time as well, but the recovery after the crisis has been less dynamic. That's what we're running into, guys, is everybody is still looking back at the 2008 crisis, and they're trying to figure out how to keep this from happening again. But we all are very aware of what's going on in this thing. And as we're looking at more and more signs that we're going back into another financial crisis, they're trying to get in front of the 8 ball, and they don't want that to happen. We're starting to see negative interest rates globally. We're starting to see where the United States, they're struggling to pay back their debt. So when you start looking at all these things, it's really and truly a worrisome landscape for the central bankers that they have going on. Lee, hey, James, just subscribed. Hey, I appreciate it, Lee. All the help we can get. We're trying to grow. I think we got a little over 1,200 subscribers at the moment, but I still feel like that's pretty good for just a couple of weeks of having a channel. We're going to keep digging. We're going to keep trying to put out some good quality content for everybody, and just make sure that we're just putting some truth out there and putting what it says out here in front of everybody. Great, Pate's always in the house. We definitely appreciate you coming in, Pate. Definitely appreciate you coming in. So the ECB is looking like they're going to be the first ones to step into the door. So what you're looking at when you start looking into this fintech, you have two different categories. You have people that want to be the first into it. Then you have people that want to sit back and wait and see exactly what's going to happen before they dip their toes into it. So on the side of like MoneyGram was one of the ones that they didn't want to sit back and wait. They wanted to be the first ones out the door. They wanted to go ahead and go ahead and try to offset some of what they were already losing. Taylor, I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. So MoneyGram wanted to be the first through the door. Now it looks like that the ECB is going to be the first through the door on the central bank side as they start moving forward, trying to get everything going. And I'm just real excited to see what's going to happen with it. Let's get back into this article here. Plans for a European public cryptocurrency have begun emerging after social media giant Facebook announced in June its blueprint for Libra, a private digital currency, which spooked regulators and have since raised concerns and said Facebook's project could be banned. All right, so not only do we have the ECB mentioning Facebook, we have the BIS mentioning Facebook about how it needed to step up. We heard a little bit earlier the video about Bank of Santander mentioning Libra and Facebook, how it sparked an interest in them to get going and stop making this thing a secret. But then we have the most famous video.
Thank you. When you said that it was the best time, it was the best week for Ripple contracts ever, was that a factual statement or are you just hoping?
No, that's a factual statement.
That the Facebook announcement
has absolutely catalyzed contract activity. So we may have been talking to a bank, a payment provider for 6 weeks, 6 months about a contract. This has been a call to action. There's no question. I was texting with our head of sales, a guy named John Mitchell. He flies around the world more than anybody I've ever met. And this is going to be a record week for Ripple.
So to my understanding, the G20, the meeting of
the most famous video of all of it, Brad Garland House standing up saying, yes, this has been a call of action. Since this has come out, now we find out that they've been working on CBDCs for a while, and the rabbit hole just continues on how all of it ties back to Ripple with the partnerships that Ripple has. All right, so Facebook move highlighted the fragmented payment landscape into the European Union, where U.S. card firms dominate plastic payments, and no common system has emerged to low cost for fast transactions across the 28 countries of the bloc. So when you start talking about plastic payments, automatically you have to look at what happened today when you start seeing MoneyGram and Visa partnering up for the incentives that they have going on. And guys, I'm telling you, everything is just pointing as if it's all unfolding right before our eyes. All we have to do is dig in, find the information. If industry efforts fall short of developing an innovative and efficient pan-European payment solution, the social need for it could potentially be met by issuing a central bank digital currency, said the document by Reuters. This paper will be discussed on Thursday by EU finance ministries, who are expected to adopt a joint statement welcoming the ECB's work on a possible digital currency, a draft seen by the Reuters say. So who has been in the pocket of the ECB president for the longest time? Guys, it's all playing out right in front of us, and the rabbit hole is just going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's get back into the French. Let's see what the French have going on with their CBDCs. All right, according to French news agency AFP, the Bank of France, Banque de France, will start testing its own cryptocurrency in 2020. Such an announcement was made by the bank's governor on December 4th. And here it is again. Libra threatens. In his speech, the director says that center of gravity is the realm of payments is shifting towards big tech players, since the corporations are based in other regions and emergent non-bank players could threaten the sovereignty of Europe. All right, so I'm not sure how the Europe and French banks are tied in together, but they are both taking a call for innovations. All right, the Bank of France now plans to create its own central CBDC. Is the answer to payment solutions that are offered to private companies in the likes of Facebook. Everybody has the same words. They are all threatened by Facebook. So all the plans that which have been laying out, they're all moving forward. So here's a quote from them. Additional skills will be recruiting and strengthened in expertise. And with the help of our lab, the DIIP will work with industry innovators from the private sector who want to start running experiments rapidly, and will launch a call for all projects before the end of the first quarter of 2020. Everybody wants this thing moving, guys, and it's going to be a whole lot sooner than later. We got Dan Espy. Appreciate you coming in. We got Vetty Bro, Patrick Heron. Sorry, that ain't Patricia. Patrick Heron. Man, guys, I'm just blessed to have all of you in here with me, man. I'm just glad y'all come to hang out. Miss Patsy, thank you for the 5XRP. That is amazing. I definitely appreciate that. All right, guys, so give me your thoughts and opinions. All of this ties together, and I'm seeing it all tying together with Ripple, with the fact of the partners of which we're seeing, especially when we get back into Fnality. I start seeing it all tying right back into Ripple. Tell me your thoughts and opinions. Where do you think this thing is going? How do you think that this thing is actually going to play out? Do you think that the USC, do you think that that is a real coin, or do you think that is a name of something in which they're putting into place and not wanting to say the name that's never spoke of? Because I can really and truly, I see through this video that basically what they've done is they just showed bridge assets. So when we start looking at bridge assets, there's only one that's been screaming the entire time that they are the bridge asset to connect the world together. So Fnality, really and truly in my eyes, somehow or another, we're going to end up tying this back to Ripple and trying to figure out how this works out, guys. I'm really, really interested to see how it's going to pan out in the long run. What are your thoughts and opinions, guys? News on top of news on top of news. Comedian Chuck Real, man, you are not joking. It seems to just never stop. I mean, it's constant, and it's getting more by the day, and it's getting bigger names by the day. Earlier, when we saw the MoneyGram and MoneyGram and Visa in talks, holy cow, that was just amazing to see something like that. Can we mention for Boo? All right, so I'm thinking what you're talking about, Chris, is Boo Boo got banned from Twitter or got something along those lines. Fill us in, Chris. Go and let us know what we need to talk about, buddy. Anybody know why she got booted off of Twitter, Chris? Or was it just a mistaken identity or what was it? Wouldn't surprise me at all to see these cryptos run on Ripple on the back end. Hey, exactly. Nobody's going to know what's happening behind the scenes. They're not going to know what's happening behind that back door. And the more I look at it, the more I dig into it, guys, this is more and more true what everybody says. Everything's going to run on Ripple. Yeah, we need to get Boo Boo back. Not on Twitter, so don't know anything. I'm with you, Vetty, bro. I don't know what happened to Boo Boo. Here today, gone tomorrow kind of deal is what it looked like. It looked like she just disappeared. I don't know if she got banned. I don't know if she got booted. I don't know what's going on. But I know she's put in a lot of work, and I don't really see where she done anything wrong. So if we can get her back on, then definitely need to get it in there. Digital Asset Conductor, we haven't even seen the beginning yet. Wait until we start seeing securities and XRP team up with tokenized real estate. Hey, I'm with you, brother. Miyagi saying everything run on ILP. Agreed, said Vetty, bro. ILP is where we're going. Interledger Protocol. Got a lot of good news, guys. A lot of good news. I think that there's still a whole lot of digging that could be going on in this rabbit hole. I'm going to continue digging into this rabbit hole and seeing how much further this thing goes. And definitely want to see where it goes. We just got a new subscriber, Hargrim. Am I saying that right? Hargrim. Definitely appreciate you subscribing to the channel. All the subscribers can help. If you don't mind, go ahead and smash the likes for me one time if you like the content which is going out. If you don't, man, hey, I don't mind at all. Hit the thumbs down, because at the end of the day, it's going to go to the same algorithm, and that's what it's all about, interacting. Whether it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, it's all about interacting. Comedian Chuck Real, I think Christine Lagarde will be the same Ripple XRP in the media soon. You think she'll say it? Nancy Luton, David Schwartz said he hopes for a $1 per XRP for Christmas. Man, me and David Schwartz both, Nancy. I would love to see that. I'm not sure that it's going to happen, but I tell you, it would be nice to see any kind of movement. I would be happy at this point to get back to 30 cent. Everybody talks about how we was bored at 30 cent and it's never moving. It moved, but it just went the wrong direction. Let's get back to 30 cent and let's revisit 50 cent. And once we start doing that, let's move it on up and get on up into where we need to be. I'm excited about the charts, how the charts look on the high end of things when the next bull run comes. The potential for what it could be is amazing, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. Alex Yeet says, let's get down to 15 cents so we can buy some more. Come on, man. We don't want to get that low, man. Come on now. We do not want to go that low. I guess it wouldn't matter really, because we know where we're going in the future. So going low now gives us the opportunity to go ahead and stack up. But hey, I've been stacked up for a while. I'm ready to roll. Flooring guys in the house. Ali G, look a bit pale in this stream. I can't even see you. Come on the stream. Let's see how pale you look. But guys, I definitely appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out with me. I just wanted to get on here and just talk a little bit, man, and show you some of the things that I was finding. I thought they were very interesting. I didn't know if you would like them or not, but definitely worth digging into this rabbit hole a little bit further. Remember Fnality. I got it pulled up here on the site so you can remember the name. Remember Fnality. I don't think this is the last we're going to hear from them. Let's definitely dig into them and see if we can find some ties to Ripple in any way besides the partnerships. Because, guys, when you start looking at these partnerships and you start looking into the shareholders of this, I mean, that there alone starts screaming Ripple. That whole paragraph just starts screaming Ripples when you start actually getting these things out of here. As XRP grows, so do my horse's wings. I plan on riding them to the moon. I hear you. I hear you. Digital Asset Conductor, I definitely appreciate you coming in. Definitely appreciate the support, buddy. Jeff Hardy, go up for a good Christmas and then dump however you want. I hear you. I hear you. All right, Allie, I got you. Is that what you meant by the pail? Okay. I got you. There you go. You good to go now, Allie. But, all right, guys. I'm going to get on out of here. Like I say, just wanted to come in and holler at you, talk to you for a little bit. And let's dig into it, guys. We can get the thing together. Hey, but always remember, guys. Love God. Love others. Let's serve both. When I say serve both, I don't mean that you have to go out here and just do everything for everybody. What I mean is by serving somebody, all you have to do is just be there in their time of need. If they got a question about something with XRP, if they got a question with something with Ripple, and you know the answer, don't bash them because they got the wrong answer. Let's pick them up. Let's let them know what the answer is, and let's show them why the answer is that way. Always have each other's back, guys. And remember, we may not have it all together, but together we can have it all. Teamwork will make this thing work, and all we got to do is just push through together, guys. The more we distance ourselves in clicks, the less profitable our actual community will be. The community can be very profitable. All we have to do is have each other's back and help each other through the times and help each other get where we need to get to. Guys, I ain't got nothing but love for everybody in the chat, nothing but love for everybody in the XRP community. Like I say, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me today, and we're going to do it again tomorrow, and I will see y'all tomorrow.